All right, everyone, thanks for tuning into the channel. Today we are going to be checking out the Bluetti DC to DC Charger 1, which is their DC to DC charger that all of the brands now seem to be coming out with one just because they're game changers. I mean, it's I don't use that word very often, but they are. This, again, is Bluetti's version, and it is a 560 watt DC to DC charger. Now, if you've watched my channel before, you'll know that I have the Ecoflow charger, which absolutely love it. It is a 800 watt charger, so there's a difference. This one is a little bit less than that one, but the issue with the Ecoflow one is it's proprietary to Ecoflow without having to, finagle little connectors and things like that, which, you can do that if you want to. But for most people and most people's applications, it's a little bit nicer to just have a plug and play solution for whatever their power station is. So, whether you have a Pecron or you have a Bluetti or you have, just so many of them. There's so many brands out there, and they all have their specific ways, to charge XT60, XT90, off MC4 cables, the aviation plugs, the barrel plugs. So having a solution that will do, basically 95%, I think is what they say, of all the power stations out there, is great. I mean, it's a little bit less production, with 560 watts, but it's also programmable. So you can go all the way from 18 watts or 18 volts to 56 volts, so you're 180 watts to 560 watts, which is the max for your particular unit. So if you have just a little guy, that only has a max input of, say, 36, and it's not a Bluetti product, for example, you can go in there in the custom and type in, 36 volts, or just a little less, 34, 32, and dial it in to your exact unit. So that's what's really nice about this, and I think it's a very versatile product. I'll let you in on a little fun fact here. We just spent 4 days, so Tuesday through Friday, with no power, none. I take that back. We had in those, 72 plus hours, I think it was about 80 hours. So in the 80 hours that we had no power, we had an 8-hour stint in there that we did have some, which was overnight, which, doesn't do any good anyway. But my DC to DC chargers came in clutch because, if you've seen my other videos, you've seen all the different power stations that I have. Well, I've had each power station on something, so the fridge in the garage, the deep freeze in the garage, fridge in the house, some lights, just a handful of items, the internet, the routers, all of that. I had it all plugged in, even the security system. Everyone was on their own power station. And so rather than getting out the gas generators and running those in the back, I would just idle the truck. I'd get my 800 watts coming in, and I would just bounce from power station to power station to power station and keep them topped up. The last day I did run the generators just because it was starting to drag on longer than I thought, but I thought it was only going to be a day or so. And I just wanted to see if I could do it. I wanted to see if I could run my household with everything I needed to survive and not, or even turn the hot water heater on, because I have an electric hot water heater. So I was even able to plug that in. I want to make sure I could run everything that I needed for some semblance of comfort, and not lose all our food or anything like that, which I know tons of people around me did. They lost everything in their fridges because they were unprepared, as far as I'm concerned. It's like I've had generators for decades just for those situations. Now, my needs have gotten bigger, so these power stations have come in clutch. So highly recommend you get yourself a power station. And I'll tell you what, my Bluetti power station was one of the best performers of the week. So as far as the unit is concerned, what comes in the box, I've already opened it because I thought the cables came as a separate item, and they don't. They did, they used to, but they've changed it now, and it's all included. So in the box basically is the Bluetti Charger. Tiny, tiny. It doesn't weigh hardly anything. This one here probably weighs 8 pounds, but we'll weigh them. But you can see the size difference there. Now this is a little thicker, of course, than this guy. You probably can't even see that than that guy. But so this weighs nothing, and for a form factor of how you need to mount it, or a space that you need to stuff it in, the Ecoflow requires quite a bit of space, and a decent amount of space around it, just because it has these proprietary plugs and all this sort of stuff, the way they connect. And then these are literally just screwed right in with ferrules, with just the wires right to it, so easy peasy. And you can kind of stuff this in somewhere nice and tight, tight little deal. So inside here are our little in connectors, some extra ferrule ends. Looks like a little mounting bracket. So if you've got to cut any of the ends off the cables, they give you the stuff to redo them. This is our MC4 connector. So that's the way the power comes out, is the MC4 connector gets connected to the unit, and then you connect your MC4 to whatever adapter you have. Like my AC180, it uses the little barrel plug, and it's got that. It comes with it, so it's MC4 to that little barrel plug. Where the all powers, they use XT60s and XT90s from MC4, so that's easy enough. So it's like I said, it's versatile to any unit that you need it to work with. Also in there is our wire. There's our wire. It's got a sheathing on it right here. So right here it has the breaker. It's a 250 volt. I think it's 70 amp or 60 amp breaker. Now I tell you, this is the side that plugs into the Charger 1. And so, yes, having the circuit breaker next to the Charger 1 could be convenient for turning it on and off, because this is going to be closest to your power station, so on and so forth. But I would highly recommend that you put another breaker up next to the battery. That's where it really belongs, just because all of this wiring going through your car, if anything happens where it could become a fire hazard or anything like that, it's got to go all the way to the back before it trips the breaker, and could catch a fire anywhere in between there, So if you've got the breaker by the battery and you have a problem right there, it just shuts it down right there. But and 2 breakers aren't going to hurt. So we'll measure this out when we'll take it outside. I'm just waiting for it to warm up out there. It's like 34 degrees. But we'll take it outside to the truck, and we'll hook it up, and we'll do some comparisons and things like that. And then also your Charger 1 manual. Let's see, I think that's about it for this. It does come with an anti short circuit protection. I think it's got anti-reverse, under voltage, over temp. So all these different safety shut-off features, which are kind of nice. It does not have the reverse charging, so you cannot take the power station and top back up your house batteries if for some reason you left your lights on and killed your main battery. But give and take here and there. These are really, I think, because of how manageable the unit is, how much you can do with it, I really find that these are probably ideal for the vehicles that have just a single alternator in them and a single battery. And it's going to be a lot less, especially if you're dialing it down to your particular unit, it's going to be drawing a lot less off your charging system. So it's going to be easier on your alternator, easier on your batteries, versus the 800 watts. And now there's a couple brands out there now that have 1,000 watts. So those are pretty taxing on smaller alternators, which your Subarus and things like that people do your overlanding and camping and things like that. And this one I think is ideal for those type of vehicles. You definitely, install any kind of a DC to DC charger, you definitely want to make sure that your alternator puts out enough juice to handle whatever load you're going to suck out of it, you know. So you need to make sure you're putting out enough to say, if you need to do 36 volts to keep your little smaller, you know, station charged up all the time, you need to make sure that that 36 volts being yanked off your alternator isn't going to cause you any problems or you know, do any damage to your electrical system. And you know, and that's, again, that's the scenario where you want that breaker, that additional breaker, right there by the battery, because if bad things are going to happen, it's going to happen right there. Otherwise, unless you run this in a unfavorable condition inside your vehicle or down your vehicle, and you put it in a place where it can get frayed or nicked, where it'll ground or short out, you've got protection on both ends. Your power station is now protected. Your batteries are now, you know, your battery side of the house is protected, and hopefully it just kills all the power immediately, and you're able to correct, you know, whatever the issue is. So let's move this outside, and we'll go through some of the other fun facts about this guy. Okay, we are outside. So this is everything that you would need for the install, pretty much, except for this battery. This is for, we're going to try something with that. But you just need maybe a pair of pliers, a meter to double check, make sure that you know, everything's coming out at 12 volts and there's not some weird wonky voltages that are coming at you. These two different meters here, this is a Klein meter. This one has a lot of different settings, and you know, you can do a lot of things with it. This meter right here is actually my favorite. I've had it forever, and it's really just more of an electrical tester, and it's basically dummy proof. It's got one switch on. So you turn it on, you touch the leads, it tells you you've got, you know, 110, 12 volts, ohms, it does everything for you. And then this is, you know, a socket wrench for your battery terminals, because you're going to need that. This wrench is for the bolts here. Here's our cables. Here's our MC4 connector. Here's our Bluetti Charger. Comes with an Allen wrench right here. So that's the Allen wrench that's necessary to connect the leads. And then here's our Bluetti Charger with our barrel connector and our MC4s. So, and then this particular unit can accept from 12 volts to 60 volts. So it can accept more than the Charger one can put out anyway. So let's get these cables stretched out, find out how long they are for you. Probably about 15 feet. But I'll tell you right now, it's over 6, 12, probably 15 feet. So about 3 meters or 5 meters. Now for back here, this truck is so long, this 15 feet of cable isn't going to reach. So we're going to have to figure something out in that regard. Also, my secondary battery up there is maxed out on cables. It's kind of the reason why I brought this out. The secondary battery, believe it or not, it's kind of odd, does not have posts, terminal posts that you can connect stuff to. What I'm thinking I want to try and do is connect this unit just to a standalone battery, see if we can get this thing to function, start charging, get it connected to the app, do all these things before this particular battery goes so low on voltage that it can't operate it. This is simulating the battery in your car. There's just no alternator charging it. Let's get this stuff put together. So on the connections here, if you can see, they have a little hole there. That's where your Allen wrench goes into. It's on both sides to cover both of these. So it tells you right here, input, input, output, output. So we'll start with the outputs. We're going to have to screw them all the way out, because right now they're screwed all the way in. Okay. Positive to positive. Negative to negative. Sorry, arm's going to be in the way while I hold it. But we're only doing this more or less temporarily, so Okay, that one's done. Cables are not connected to the battery. So same thing on this side. We'll do the battery or the negative first. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I tend to live in the most noisy neighborhood on the planet. It drives me nuts. Anytime I press record, that damn dog starts yapping it up, or my dogs will start yapping it up, or there won't be a car on the street for an hour, you know, and as soon as I hit record, there'll be 30 of them. And it'll be noisy. There'll be noisy cars. They won't even be quiet cars. But anyway, there we are. We're connected here. So we'll make sure our breaker is set to off, which it is. We will test this scenario first, see what happens. See how well it works. Okay, so that part's working, so let's turn it back off again. Let's plug in this side here, and then we'll turn it on. We'll let it do its thing here. Oh, you know what? It's not going to take any charge. It's 100% charged. Let me go get something and we'll drain this guy. I forgot I've got them all charged up because they expect the wind to cause another power failure this week. Okay, so we've got our heater connected to it. We're sucking out 1400 watts. It's dropping it down pretty quick. We'll let this go, you know, for 10 minutes or so, and then we can go back to our test. To get sucked down, it's already at 75, but we'll take a minute here, turn this back on, and let's do a screen record for you. Go into our Bluetti app. Got our AC 180 showing. We're going to add a device. There it is. It found it. Charger. We'll add that. So there it is. Okay. Now able to connect, so we'll start. Connect to it. Okay, it's got 13.8 volts on the battery, so it's pretty fully charged. We'll go ahead and plug this in. We're at 72% on the Bluetti here. And there it goes. Ramping up. So it's at 212. So the reason for that is because we need to change the settings to the, let's see here. Okay, so what we'll do here is we'll stop this. I think we need to get to, so right here it says charging voltage. So we'll change the charging voltage. So let's disconnect the device, which we did. I have followed the steps above. Hit next. Then right here you can select your model or hit custom. I'm screen recording this for you, but so right now 27 volts is its max, so 270. What we'll do is we'll select our model. We'll do the AC 180. It does 56. That's the max of the charger. We'll hit next. We'll hit OK. So we should be good to go. Let's plug our cord back in. And we're at 315, 320, 412. We may not get the max amount because of that battery, but we're getting close. 465. Yeah. Okay, so you can't run that for very long at 500 watts before it looks like it dropped below. It's at 13.2 volts. All right, so we went ahead and had to get a little creative here. I went ahead and used my 100 amp breaker in here that goes for a bunch of the lighting, so we connected the positive to that. And then we've just got running on the ground here, and got our AAC 180 sitting on a trash can because, again, cable's not long enough. And let me get everything started up. I'll start the truck. I'll put you back on tripod. All right, we made sure the Ecoflow is turned off, so they're both not running at the same time. Flip our switch. Go throw our circuit breaker. Got our green light flashing over there. Ramping up, we're at 130, 250. $70, 480, 500. All right, so it looks like we're getting 500, not the full 560. It may creep up as the charging system tops up the house batteries first. Double check on the app here. 13, let's see, 502. 56 volts. So I think what we'll do is I'll turn it off. I'll let the truck run for a little bit, make sure everything's topped up before we start sucking out of it, and then we'll turn it back on. Okay, we let it charge for a minute, we turned it back on. Still at 500. So that looks like what we're going to get out of it, unless I come in here and change the voltage and pump it up a little bit, but I'll just use what they've got, and 500 is 500. Now it does have a silent mode right here. You can see that. I'll try and turn that on. It should reduce the watts by quite a bit, just to make it so the fans don't kick on. Let's see what that does. So drops it down to around the 300 mark. That's just so you can have it running and not have to listen to the fans, but it's a DC to DC charger, so you're gonna be listening to the car. So anyway, okay, let's stop with this. That's enough of that. So we will turn it off, just like that, just in time because my dog's yapping it up. We'll unplug here, turn this guy off, and we'll reposition everything. Okay, so in conclusion, you know, we got the 500 watts, you know, which is still 5 times faster than your regular cigarette lighter right in that neighborhood. Again, like I said, if you know you're running the smaller, you know, like the AC70s and things like that, but 500 watts is going to charge that thing up quick. So it'll take a little bit longer on, you know, a 1,000 watt unit. It would have to go for 2 hours to get from 0 to 1,000. But you know, it's got a smart algorithm in it that keeps the battery safe. So it'll shut itself off if it's idle and it doesn't detect anything being pulled out of it. And so it won't let the battery get below a safe level of being able to start the vehicle back up. So anyway, thanks again for sending it out, Bluetti. Appreciate it. And I'll have links below. And, you know, I invite you guys to like, subscribe, do the notifications, and everything else for YouTube land. So we'll catch you guys on the next video.